Hey, you feel that? You are now tuned into You Feel That with Bryce the Third. Yo, and welcome to another episode of You Feel That with Bryce the Third, the best podcast there is on emotional, spiritual, and mental development for entrepreneurs and creatives. I, of course, am your host, Bryce the Third, and today will be like one of the last solo episodes that we have for a while. I got a lot of great interviews lined up, and I can't wait for you all to meet my friends. Today, I kind of wanted to talk a bit about a few things. One of them being the process of building anything. How important it is to allow for the pivots and the twists and the turns that occur in the process of development, like including this show. I started this show out, and it started out as a show for highly sensitive people and HSPs, and then I kind of did some research and come to find out highly sensitive people have like their own community, and I didn't necessarily I didn't speak the language of that community. I'm just a person like with a lot of emotions that is building big things, and I wanted to find a space where I can come and learn how to build the big things that I can build under the context of like, well, what is the emotional implications? And so that's how I wanted to create my show. And so I've just been continuously pushing forward, and we've continuously grown and evolved and developed as we show up each episode every time. And I've gotten to a spot with this show where it's like, okay, it's time for growth again. It's time to grow the production. It's time to grow the initiative. It's time to grow the audience, you all. Which, by the way, if you're listening to this episode and I brought you from any other platforms, whether it was somebody else, I guested on somebody else's podcast, or you've seen something on Instagram, or you've seen me on TikTok, like I welcome you here, and glad to see you here, glad to hear you here, and we're going to continue to learn and grow together every week, every Monday. But it's important that we allow for the process of our growth. See, a lot of times I think we can get in the way of our growth feeling as if we need to grow right now, as if we need to have all the answers right now. And feeling as if we need to have all the answers right now when we don't have all the answers right now can prevent us from having the answers, can prevent us from finding the answers, because we're not in a receptivity to the answers that may come, because we're beating ourselves upside the head like, damn, I don't have the answers right now. I should have the answers. At the level that I'm at right now, the entrepreneur that I am right now, the creative that I am right now, I should know exactly what to do in this moment. And that's just so rough, at least for me. Like, that doesn't work. So to allow yourself the ease and the softness of like, okay, what I'm experiencing right now is exactly what it is that I need to be experiencing. Otherwise, I wouldn't be having this experience. The reason I am where I am right now is because this is exactly where I need to be in order to make happen what it is that I've intended. See, when we set out with intention, even if it's like, okay, my intention is just to have a show, right? So you set out and you create a show, and then you learn, oh no, my intention is to have a show for these people. And then you go out and you create, and it's like, no, not just those people, but the people inside of those people, and continuously get more specific due to the experience that we have after we take action, after setting an intention. And I kind of broke a little bit of this down for you on the last episode, where I gave you that personal power process. But that's like, this is active. This is what it looks like in action. So with all that said, I just want to let you all know some changes will continuously be coming to the show, and my job and my intention is to make the best show possible and to make it worth everybody's time. With that said, I do want to pivot a little bit. So I'm in a season of my life where I'm doing this thing. It's this 90-day journey that I'm on. I'm calling it the Disciple of Self journey, where I'm really tapped into my inner wisdom, having faith and trust in my inner wisdom, learning how to decipher where my voice is, learning how to decipher where my higher power is, and what it is that I can depend on, learning how to have a relationship with the things that I intend to be in my life, learning to see what it is that I'm dissatisfied, and learning to really be in tune with the plan to bring about the cessation of that dissatisfaction through my action, and like less word born, like learn how to get what it is that I say that I want, so that I won't be mad that I don't have it, and feel like I gave everything to make that thing happen. And in this journey, there's some things that I'm cutting out. Maybe we'll save all that for another episode. Right now, it's like personal to me, and so I'm just on this journey. But in this journey that I'm experiencing, one big thing that I'm learning is how to be okay with how I see different from other people. And a lot of times we can want we can want other people to agree with the things that we do, that in order to validate why it is that we do the things that we do. But what I found is that's not necessary at all. As a matter of fact, like, everybody's doing the best that they can with what they've been given, and everybody's living in their own realities. Everybody has created their own reality. And so I have to create my own reality. And some of the things that go on in my own reality might be a little off the wall to you and your reality. And that's okay. Nobody is right or wrong, right? Like, you are showing up and creating your own reality. And if I'm creating my reality and they don't look alike, yours is not wrong and mine is not right. And I'm really like digging in deeper into this process, because the whole thing is, if we don't have a finger on the pulse of what our reality is and how much of a role we play into the creation of our reality, we can get sucked up in somebody else's reality. We can get sucked up in somebody else's rights or wrongs, and then we can get to blaming other people for what's going right or wrong in our lives because we've been sucked into their stuff. But in all actuality, like, it's nobody else's fault where it is that we are or that we aren't, except for us, because we create our reality. So I'm reading this book. Well, I read this book, and it's a quick read. It's called Illusions: The Adventures of a Reluctant Messiah by Richard Bach, and I'll put the link in the podcast notes. But I was reading this, and it was a instance in here where both of the main characters went to the movies, and I just kind of want to share this with you all. One character, he's like the Mr. Miyagi in this book, and he grabbed the other character to the movies, and they were just trying to figure out, like, the character that got dragged was trying to figure out, like, why are we here? Like, why do we come here? But he asks, you do everything for a reason, Don. Sometimes. Why the movie? Why did you all of a sudden want to see Sundance? You asked the question. Yes. Do you have an answer? That is my answer. We went to the movie because you asked a question. The movie was the answer to your question. He was laughing at me. I knew it. What was my question? There was a long, pained silence. Your question, Richard, was that even in your brilliant times, you have never been able to figure out why we are here. I remembered, and the movie was my answer. Yes? Oh, you don't understand, he said. No. That was a good movie, he said, but the world's best movie is still an illusion, is it not? The pictures aren't even moving. They only appear to move, changing light that seems to move across a flat screen set up in the dark. Well, yes, I was beginning to understand. The other people, anywhere we go to any movie show, why are they there when it is only illusions? Well, it's entertainment, I said. Fun. That's right. 1. Could be educational. Good. It is always that. Learning. 2. Fantasy escape. That's fun. 2. Or that's fun too. 1. Technical reasons to see how a film is made. Learning. 2. Escape from boredom. Escape. You said that. Social. To be friends. To be with friends. I said. Reason for going but not for seeing a film. That's fun anyway. 1. Whatever I came up with fit as 2 fingers. People see films for fun or for learning or for both together. And a movie is like a lifetime, Don. Is that right? Yes. Then why would anybody choose a bad lifetime, a horror movie? They not only come to the horror movie for fun, they know it's going to be a horror movie when they walk in, he said. But why? Do you like horror films? No. Do you ever see them? No. But some people spend a lot of money and time to see horror or soap opera problems that to other people are dull and boring. He left the question for me to answer. Yes. You don't have to see their films, and they don't have to see yours. That is called freedom. But why would anybody want to be horrified or bored? Because they think they deserve it for horrifying somebody else, or they like the excitement of horrification, or that boring is the way that they think films have to be. Can you believe that lots of people, for reasons that are very sound to them, enjoy believing that they are helpless in their own films? No, you can't. No, I can't, I said. Until you understand that, you will wonder why some people are unhappy. They are unhappy because they have chosen to be unhappy. And Richard, that is all right. And for me, that hit my soul when I read that. There's some things that I've experienced, some interpersonal relationships that I've experienced recently, and I could want to stop somebody from believing a way that they believe because I quote unquote care about them, or I can maybe want to inject some of the ways that I've come to understand the world as being on somebody else because I want them to do better, and it's frustrating for everybody. We can't force people to go see a movie that they don't want to see. Look, I know you was vibing and I hate to interrupt your flow. We're going to get right back to the episode in a second. But I interrupt the program for good reasoning. Look, if you are here listening to You Feel That, the absolute best emotional, mental, and spiritual empowerment podcast for creatives and entrepreneurs, chances are you're either being called to build something and are looking for where to start. You've already defined what it is that you're looking to build and are currently fleshing that out. And you're here looking for encouragement, motivation, and more context for yourself and your business to help you to continue to manifest. Or maybe you've been around the block a few times. You've taken something from ideation to creation. And you know in order to stay on top of your game and continue to win, you have to stay sharp. And you're here to make sure that you're perpetually the sharpest tool in the shed. So I got to thinking, what is one common problem that all three of these people share? Number one, knowing who we are. We don't know who we are. Even when you achieve something, even when you accomplish something, it can be hard to figure out who we are because once we accomplish something, things change. Life continuously changes. And in those changes, we continuously change. We cannot stay the same or else we become obsolete. And look, I could just hear your ears perking up. You may not know who you are right now in this season of your life. And number two, where we're going. Whether this is your first time setting out on your entrepreneurial adventure or you're a veteran who spent the block a few times, the destination always changes because when we get there, there's somewhere else to go. And then when we get there, there's somewhere else to go. So a process that allows for us to have a finger on the pulse of our internal compass, regardless of what the external circumstances are, is invaluable to our process of building anything great. All right, I hear your ears perking up again. You don't have a process. So look, you don't know who you are and you don't have no process. What if I told you I wrote a manual to help you discover these things within yourself? I hear those ears perking up again. The Handbook, a pocket guide for creating your desired reality and being a good human while you're at it, is available for purchase right now. Within this book, we dig into and develop a foundation within ourselves of perception, gratitude, understanding, completion, all of the timeless principles that will help you to discover your path for the first time or for the 12th time. This book will help you find yourself or remember who you are, as well as get clear on the pathway towards what it is you're looking to create. If this sounds like something you could benefit from, you need to go ahead and grab your copy. Head on over to brycethethird.com/the handbook. The link is conveniently located in the podcast description below wherever you're looking at or listening to this podcast. You can even go on Amazon and search on Amazon The Handbook by Bryce III and grab your copy. When I first got started on my entrepreneurial journey, I wish I had a handbook to help me discover who it is that I am and where it is that I'm going. And now you got one. Grab your copy of the handbook today and unlock the key to your clarity in business and in life. All right, back to the show. The most important movie we'll ever watch is the one that we create. The movie that we put together, that we film, that we have the scenes for, that we make our casting for, that is the most important film that we'll ever see. So it's on us to create that. It's on us to really focus on the creation of that movie, of that reality. Like, that's on us. And however somebody else lives, like, that's on them. And that's okay. That's absolutely okay. Because if you're spending energy trying to pull somebody out of their reality, then that is your reality. Your reality is the reality where you feel that you will not be satisfied until you can change somebody else. And people, places, and things are the three unchangeable things that if we waste energy trying to change, we will find ourselves depressed and fudged up. And also zooming in on the part where they were talking about the only reason people go to see movies is to learn and to have fun. So how desirable is that? How desirable is the only reason that I show up in my life is to learn and to have fun? If it's not the best experience in the world, like it could be an opportunity for me to learn. And when it is the best experience in the world, it's an opportunity for me to have fun. And it's always those two things, to learn and to have fun. Like the reason we show up in this existence, the reason we show up in our experience is to learn and to have fun. And when create my own reality, that's reality. That's part of my reality. Like that's the reality I want to live. Like, no, I'm here having fun. Like I'm here having a great time. Like I'm here experiencing things and learning what it is that I want. And when the things that I experience aren't exactly the most desirable circumstances, like I am getting more clarity on what it is that I want. I am getting more specific about what it is that I intend. And therefore I can put my energy into that intention and increase more opportunities in my life to have fun. And it's just that. That's all it is. It's all it ever is. It's just learning and having fun. Like who doesn't want to live that life? Like I do. I do. I want to live that life, so I will. Because it's my movie. And you don't have to watch it. You don't have to watch my movie. I don't have to watch your movie. But if you like to watch my movie, I got some popcorn for you. I got some seats over here next to me. Slide through. And I know I'm bouncing around a bit, but these are just some things that are on my soul. And I really want to take advantage of the opportunity to kick it with you by ourselves, because usually we got a guest on. And, I try to be the best host that I could possibly be, and not take up all the talking time and ask questions that people will want to hear from that guest. So you getting this mind throw up right now, this mind purge. But yeah, also, and I think last but not least, if you haven't heard episode 12 of You Feel That, I'll put that in the show notes of this podcast as well. It's on gratitude and appreciation. Man, when I tell you that gratitude has helped me, like intentional gratitude, like stopping and pausing intentionally, especially like as entrepreneurs, as people who are pushing to create big things. A lot of times we can be over here or, in our idea or in the reality that exists where our idea has come to fruition. This big thing that we need to bring to existence. And it can kind of fuck with us. It can kind of like send us into this thing, like this anxiety thing. Like I won't be satisfied until this thing is in existence or until I've created this thing or until I've crossed the finish line around this thing. But all of this is important. All of this is important. Like I touched on in the beginning of the episode, every piece of this experience is important to the whole. So can we enjoy it? Can we enjoy it? Can we enjoy each and every piece of this process? And gratitude, intentional gratitude has helped me to be able to do so. This month, I'm actually running a week-long gratitude challenge for free. If you text 313-254-5972, once again, that's 313-254-5972. Text gratitude to that number, and I'll get you locked into that group. But we'll be intentionally focusing on, for 7 days, all together, things that we're grateful for, things that already exist in our lives that can make our lives full. And have you ever heard the saying, what we focus on expands? Where intention and attention flows, energy goes. So gratitude is like one of the biggest tools that we can use to increase the quality of our lives right now in this moment. I found there's been so many times where I would be in like, I'd be focused on something that I shouldn't be focused, not saying shouldn't be, but I'd be focused on something that wasn't adding to my energy, wasn't making me feel good. And so I would take the time out to pull out a gratitude list or take the time out to look at a list that I've already created of things that I have and that I'm in the midst of creating that I'm grateful for. Like the life that I'm grateful for, the fact that I'm alive today, the fact that I'm alive and I am in the position that I am in today, the fact that I am the person that I am today, the fact that both of my kids are healthy, the fact that the sun was shining today, the fact that we live in a time where I can create a show from my phone in my closet with a microphone, like the fact that media has been democratized and I'm able to put my hat in the ring to create a great show because I have the bootstrap abilities to be able to do so. The fact that I got food in the fridge, the fact like I could just keep going on. And what that does, it increases the good feelings, the feelings of support, the feelings of being held and the feelings of knowing that things are going to work out. And when we feel that we know that things will work out, what ends up happening is we actually perpetuate the working out of those things. If I feel good in one area, that feeling good in that area bleeds into every other area. But what we tend to do is we tend to take the area that is like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm banging my head against it and like really focus on that. And what ends up happening is everything becomes confusing. Everything becomes convoluted. But when we flip that on its head and really focus on what it is that we have to be grateful for, what it is that makes us feel good, that good feeling that leaks into every other aspect of our lives. And when we take our attention off of the things that cause us to be super confused and put our attention on the things that, oh yeah, I feel great that this exists, the thing that feels great ends up bleeding onto the thing that we feel confused about, and we find that we're confused less. We find that we develop more clarity. We find that we develop more understanding, and ultimately we end up manifesting more. Ultimately we end up getting clearer on our intentions. Ultimately we end up showing up with the capability that we know that we could possess. Ultimately we end up having more power and more autonomy, and we end up pushing forward with more initiative. Gratitude is a superpower, and it's fucking free. It's free 99, so I just felt like it was important for me to remind you of that today. You're getting started on this Monday and getting your week started, and I hope that you have a great productive week, and I hope that you're able to continue to film your movie and focus on your movie, because your movie is the only movie that matters, and be grateful in the midst of whatever it is that you're creating, and be grateful for the fact that you can do it. Like, that's freedom, and be grateful for the fact that freedom is a potential possibility for you. Be grateful, be grateful, be grateful. And I promise, everything will work out exactly how it's supposed to. If you are alive and you can hear this and you can see this, you are doing just fine. You are doing just fine. Don't throw in the towel on yourself. Do the opposite. Show up for yourself. You know what it is. When we come for that solo, we here for a good time, not a long time. I appreciate you taking the time out to listen to this and investing in yourself and getting your day energized by listening to some of these things that we put on the table today. If you listen on Apple Podcasts, go on there, leave me a 5-star rating and review if you rock with what you heard today, and leave some words too, because the words, when I see those words and when I see that somebody has invested energy enough into a show that they will leave a paragraph on Apple Podcasts to help recommend the show to somebody else, I'm listening to that show. So help me help other people listen to the show. Help me help other people find a good energy on this show by leaving a paragraph and a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts. Follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Bryce the Third, and follow me on Instagram at You Feel That Podcast. And as always, be intentional, love on each other, and have compassion for your process. I'll catch you next time on You Feel That with Bryce the Third.